When people are thinking about moving to the Sarasota area, one of the hardest things for them to do is narrow down really where they want to live. We have so many options here. Of course, you've got homes versus condos, but then there's different types of living and lifestyle. We have golf course communities, gated communities, some with awesome amenities and resort style pools. Of course, we've got lots of condominiums in all different size and styles. There's some areas that aren't deed restricted, maybe you want a little bit more land, maybe you're looking for new construction. And then of course, we've got the beach. So people love to be near the beach. They think, I'm going to Florida, I want to be near the water. But then sometimes people still like that idea of being downtown and being in the middle of all of the action. So maybe if you're somewhere between those last two, the downtown area and the beach, then Lido Key might be a really good option for you because of course we have Lido Beach right there, but then Lido Key is adjacent to St Armands Circle, the St Armands Key. And there, it's a wonderful area with beautiful shops and restaurants and lots of culture and variety. It's just a really cool vibe. And then right over the Ringling Bridge, you're in downtown Sarasota. So on Lido Key, you sort of get the best of both worlds. So in this video, I'm gonna talk all about that, what Lido Key really does have to offer, the pros and cons of being there, and then of course, real estate. And I'll kind of let you know what the prices are looking like right now in the spring of 2021. Hi, I'm Jill Thomas, and each week I bring new videos about living in Sarasota, what it might look like to move here to Florida, and then of course, all things real estate. So if you've been thinking about making a move here to the Sunshine State, then this is the channel for you. Be sure to tap that subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and keep on watching. And then when you're ready to kind of take it out of the virtual world, and instead of just doing some research and you want some specific questions answered, then please give me a call, text, or email me. And even if in the end the Sarasota area is not for you, then that's okay. I'm here to help you sort all of that out. So feel free to give me a call. According to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, the word Lido means either fashionable beach resort or an outdoor pool by the beach or by the water. And our little Lido Key here in Sarasota on the west coast of Florida certainly does not disappoint. Number one, location. All right, to get to Lido Key, you have to go over the Ringling Bridge from downtown Sarasota. And when you first get out there, you actually hit St Armands first, St Armands Circle. And then St Armands and Lido Key is separated just by a thin canal. Some people don't even realize that they cross from one key to the other, but they're right there, they're both adjacent. And that's what makes Lido Key so special. And in this video, even though St Armands and Lido are right there next to each other, this is exclusively going to be about Lido Key and not the homes and everything on St Armands. So Lido Key is awesome because you do have that accessibility, and maybe you could walk or bike from your home or condo to St Armands Circle because they do have awesome restaurants and shops. It's just gorgeous. And then right over that Ringling Bridge, you're in downtown Sarasota. And between the two locations, it's not unusual for there to be outdoor events, farmers markets, art shows, car shows. There's a little bit of everything that happens. Even right now on the circle, like they're doing outdoor, like there's people singing, there's a word for it, I can't think of it offhand. But where there's folks kind of standing on the corners singing or performing in different ways. That's just kind of neat. It just sort of adds to the special vibe of the area. They'll do that. So it's a lot of fun. So you're really close to everything. And like I said in the introduction, you've got both the beach living and then that, downtown area where it's potentially walkable to things. I love it. Number two, the beach. Lido Key Beach is really a nice beach. It's not as large as like Siesta Key. It doesn't give as much fanfare, but it really is quite lovely. It has a nice parking lot. There's a parking lot, or you can do street parking as well. And they have a really great concession stand. Now, Siesta Key has a concession stand, like that's like not a new concept, obviously, but the one on Lido, it's kind of known for some of its food. People like it. You know, they've got great fish tacos. I used to work out on St Armands. That was where my office was. And on occasion, some of my colleagues and I would go over there and get lobster rolls for lunch, and we'd sit outside. I mean, what a beautiful way to break up your day is to sit outside at the beach, you know, eating lobster rolls. So that's really nice. And then they also have actually a public swimming pool right there as well. And that's our only barrier island that has a pool outside like that. Now, it's not free, but there's a lifeguard there, so you pay a few dollars to get in for one time to swim there. Or you can also get a seasonal pass or an annual pass. And then they actually have a 25-meter lap pool in there as well. So if you like to swim laps, that's a really nice option. I mean, we do have the YMCA and places like that, but if you want to swim outside, oh my goodness, how awesome would that be to be swimming in the pool right by the beach? Again, goes along with what the word Lido means, an outdoor pool by the beach or by the water. And then Lido Key also has, at the south end, Lido Key Park. And down there you can, again, go swimming. There's lifeguards down there as well. And when you pull into the parking lot, it definitely has this old Florida feel. It's got those old pine trees and, you know, kind of like I think the parking lot's dirt. I mean, I was just there a few months ago and I don't remember. But anyway, it has that nice kind of older feel to it. There's grills there and there's playgrounds and everything that you need there, and bathroom facilities also. And then if you do have kayak or something, you can park down there to push off from, or stand up paddleboard. So people like doing that. And if you don't have your own kayak, you can actually rent one over there too. So that's pretty awesome. So as you can see, I think our little Lido Key does pack a lot of punch. They offer a lot. So between the beach access, all those amenities, and then it's access to St Armands Circle, which is right there, and then over the Ringling Bridge to be right in downtown Sarasota. I mean, it's just awesome. I love it. Number 3, homes. The homes on Lido Key are pretty spectacular. We have a little bit of everything there. We do have some much older homes built in the 50s and 60s, some that are really just nice wide ranches. Many are on canals. There's only, I don't know, there might be 8 now. There's only like 6 or 8 homes that are really directly on the beach. Otherwise, it's condos or the public beach area. But there's a lot that are on canals. And then there are some that are on open water, but they face east. They're not close to the beach. And so we got canals, and then we've got garden homes where they're backed up to each other. So we have some older homes, things that were built, I mean, from, you know, the 40s, 50s, 60s, all the way through. And then, of course, in time, some of these older homes have been torn down and newer homes have been put in its place. And sometimes it is kind of sad to see the older homes go. I mean, I love new homes, don't get me wrong. Oh my goodness, they're fabulous. But sometimes I just like the quaintness of the older homes. But there is some difficult things when you do buy an older home, and if you want to put some significant work into it. Maybe you go, oh, I love it, I really want to invest into this property and improve it. But here's the thing, because you are in a flood zone there on Lido Key, then FEMA gets involved and they dictate a little bit of things here for you. So for instance, what happens is if you want to do major improvements to a property that's in a flood zone, then FEMA says you can only improve the property up to 50% of the assessed value of the structure, not of like the land value, not the total assessed value, just of the structure. And we just refer to this as the 50% rule. So I pulled up a house that was built in the 50s, and the assessed value of the structure right now is $113. So half of that is like 56,000 or 56 and a half, but I'll just say 56. And so what that means is at one time you can do up to $56,000 of improvements, and all this has to go through, actually this is in city limits, so it all goes through the city and they watch all of that. And then you do that first phase of improvement, and then the county's going to reassess the property, and automatically the county reassesses the properties on an annual basis. Or there's ways that you can have them do it sooner as well if it's too far off and you want to keep moving forward with your improvements. But so you do the $56,000 worth of improvements, the county reassesses the property, and then you have a new number. So instead of 113, maybe it's 200,000 now, or whatever that number is. And then if it's 200,000, then you can do $100,000 worth of work the next time. So there's a little dance, a little game you got to play here, and the contractors around here are familiar with that, so they can help you determine what's the best thing to do with phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because here's the thing. If you break that rule, then they're going to want you to put the whole property up to current code right now, and that is, cost prohibitive, and maybe do things that you really can't even do to the house. Maybe they want you to elevate it more or something like that. So that would be a challenge, to raise up a, a block home. So keep that in mind when you are buying an older home that is in a flood zone. And of course, as I mentioned in a lot of my other videos, just even watching the age of the roofs and things, because of insurance, sometimes it's a challenge to get insurance if you do have an older roof. So there's other things that we need to look out for as well. But I wanted to mention that to you. So we got the 50% rule from FEMA. Now, as I already said, some of the homes are on the beach. There's only a handful of them. Some of them are on canals. Some of them are on open water out on the bay or the intercoastal. And then some are on canals. So if you have a boat, that is certainly an option to live there on Lido Key. Now, some of the homes are, even though our key is pretty small there, some of them are just, a street away, a block away from the beach or from St Armands. But depending on the location, it might be a little bit of a farther walk than what you might imagine. It's not that it's terribly far, but to walk or maybe just to ride your bike to get to where you want to go. But otherwise, it's just, it's just really special because it is smaller. It's a little bit more of an intimate area. Now, on Lido Key, not including St Armands, there are 263 homes. Currently, right now, in the spring of 2021, prices for these homes are going anywhere from $1 million to $8 million. Now, just a year or so ago, you could have definitely gotten a home for under $1 million. And I'm not saying that you couldn't do it today, but again, it was going to be an older home. It's probably going to need a lot of love, or it might be a candidate for a tear down. So it's really being sold for land value. So keep that in mind. And some of the lots are small and some of them are actually quite large. They're quite significant. So you're going to see a little bit of everything in this area. Number 4, condos, condominiums. There are about 1,300 condos or units on Lido Key, and they come in all different sizes. There are some that are so small, there is just enough room for a bed and maybe a microwave. And then there's others that are, just huge. They're over 3,000 square feet, and you're well taken care of in those buildings. Most of the buildings are on the water. There's quite a few. Some are directly across the street, and some are still just a couple of blocks away. So just like we were talking about with the homes, maybe the accessibility then to the beach or to St Armands Circle is going to vary from property to property. But if you really want to be on the beach side or just right across the street, you're going to have pretty good luck finding something you might like there on Lido Key. So you can take comfort in knowing that. Now, as I've mentioned in other videos, is you have to watch the rental restrictions in a building. Often people will think, well, this would be great. I could purchase a property, use it during the winter months, and then when I'm not there, I can rent it out and take that income and use it to offset my expenses and my carrying costs. And in theory, that's an excellent idea, but in reality, it doesn't always work out. And here's why. The rental restrictions on Lido Key are a little bit more tight than compared to Siesta Key. Siesta Key is very liberal. On Lido Key, you're looking at a minimum 1 month in some buildings, 3 months, 6 months, even a year. So what that means is if you're going to rent out the property and the rules are 3 month minimum in that building, that means that lease agreement has to be written for 3 months. So be able to rent out a property during January, February, March, April, easy to do. But then not as many people maybe want to rent it out in July, August, September. I can't say that you could never do it, but you're not going to get top dollar for sure. And there's more people out there who are willing to do that. So there's a lot of supply and not a lot of demand for that. So keep that in mind. There are a couple of buildings that do have weekly rentals, but they are very small. Those little studios that I just mentioned, they're not, I don't think any of them are directly on the beach. I could be wrong with that. So they're really little. You can rent them out short term. So those you could rent out during the summer and all year. but it's very small. They're only going to be 300, 400, 500 square feet, so they don't take a lot of people in those properties. So just keep that in mind. Let's talk about the prices. So at the low end, like for those little units I just talked about, you can get them, below 300,000. Let's start with the number 2. And then for the luxury properties, you are looking at over $5 million at the top end. The average sale price for condominiums on Lido Key right now here in the spring of 2021 is $800,000. Now, of course, if the unit's in nice shape, the more updated it is, the better the view, all that good stuff, of course, you have to pay more money. And then in terms of the HOA dues, at the low end, you're looking at $400, but that's gonna be for those really small units. I would say easy, expect to pay, I would say $650 at about $1,500 a month in those HOA dues for your average properties. And then for the luxury units, it's gonna be $2,000 to $3,500 a month. Now, they take very good care of you there. The property's fabulous, but you're definitely gonna have to pay for that too. So there's definitely a wide range of HOA dues or condominium dues out there in Lido Key. Now let's talk about some of the buildings themselves. A lot of the buildings are older out there. They were built in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The more recent buildings, especially on the beach side in the 90s, was L'Elegance. And then early 2000s, we've got Orchid Beach and the Beach Residences. And the Beach Residences is the Ritz-Carlton building that's out there. And there's actually a Ritz-Carlton in downtown Sarasota as well. And we're the only town with 2 Ritz-Carltons for whatever that's worth. So then there are a few newer buildings that aren't on the beach. There's a building called Park Residences that's a little bit more at the south end. I don't know, I think there's maybe only 8 or 10 units in that building. And then some developers are going in and tearing down older properties and they're putting up a building, and sometimes they almost look like one larger single family home, but there might just be 2 or 4 units in that one building. So that's a little bit more intimate in size. So we've seen some of those as well for the newer properties. Okay, so here, of course, the luxury buildings are fantastic. The Ritz-Carlton, the Beach Residences, Orchid Beach, just gorgeous. Now, when you're talking about the older buildings and you need something, okay, well, I can't afford, a $3 million condo. So let's talk about the ones that are nice, but not, where you're spending a couple $1 million. All right, so here are my favorite buildings. The first area is St Armands Towers North and South. Now, they're not directly on the beach, they're right across the street from the beach, but what makes these 2 buildings special is they are 1 block away from St Armands Circle. So if you truly want the best of both worlds, these are the buildings to be in. Now, these buildings have the exact same name, St Armands Towers North, St Armands Towers South, but they're 2 different associations. They're not related at all. They're run differently. They have different HOA dues. They have different set of rules. Like for instance, the South Tower, you are allowed to have pets. In the North Tower, you can have a washer and dryer in your unit. The North Tower's got 2 windows in the master bedroom. The South Tower, there's only 1. So there's some differences between the 2 buildings, but really both of them are nice. And of course, you can get full golf views from those buildings. But honestly, if you're at the right level, looking east is really nice too, because you might be able to see the bay or the Ringling Bridge or seeing the lights from downtown or out there over St Armands Circle and the residences over there. So I wouldn't scoff at having a unit that faces east in one of those 2 buildings. I think it's really nice. Oh, what else is really nice is that the balconies are long. They're 40 feet long. Now, they're not crazy deep, but you can still get like a small table there if you want out there. But it's just nice because they're very long, and from the living area and both of the bedrooms, there's sliding glass doors that go out to the balcony. So every room has a nice view. So St. Armands Towers North and South I like. And then the other building I like is Lido Beach Club. It's well run, well maintained. It's right next to the Ritz-Carlton, next to the Beach Residences. So if you are on the side that would be facing south, you're gonna be looking over the Ritz-Carlton, and so the grounds there are really pretty. So even if you don't have a direct water view, looking out over that is pretty nice. And then, of course, still facing east if you're at the far end. The views can still be awesome, even if you're not looking at the beach. Because like I said before, you might be able to see the bay, looking out over the lights at night. I kind of like that. I gravitate more towards that than a full Gulf view, but everybody has their preference. So, you know, that's fine if you prefer to look at water. But those are just a couple of nice options that are more middle of the road. They're not the cheapest, but they're certainly not the most expensive. So by now, I'm sure you're picking up some of the pros and cons of living out there on Lido Key. So to wrap it up though, I'm just gonna run through some of those for you. So let's talk about the pros first. As I've mentioned probably about a dozen times already, the location on Lido Key is awesome. The beach access, but then also the accessibility to St Armands Circle and to downtown. And just not for the sake of the shops and restaurants, but all those little events that they have out there. You're so close by. So that is awesome. Another thing about Lido Key is just because it is small and intimate. I love that part of it. I love the mature trees, the growth, the variety of the homes. They still have a lot of good old Florida style homes with a lot of character. And then, of course, they're building newer homes as well. And so I can appreciate all of those properties. There's no CDD fees on Lido Key because it's not a new area. All the infrastructure is in place. Now, of course, if you are in a condo, you have condo association dues, but there are no HOA dues on St. Armands. In fact, I think there's a volunteer St. Armands Circle Association. I don't think you don't have to pay into it, but you can if you want. But it's something very modest, just because they like to keep everything well run. And then one other thing I didn't mention is Sarasota Memorial Hospital has a walk-in clinic or an urgent care center right as you come over the Ringling Bridge, right before you hit the circle. And that's nice because if you do have an emergency, it's great that you've got a place very close by. You don't have to cross over a bridge to get there. Now, Sarasota Memorial Hospital is not far from the Key at all. But if you do have an emergency, there's at least a place right there where you can get immediate help. Okay, now let's talk about the cons. There's always a downside to every place. As I mentioned, there's some older homes there, so you got to watch those roofs, the mechanics, all of that. And if you do find a fabulous property that you love, you just can't jump in, and pour $250,000 into the place to get it up to speed. You might have to do it in stages. And then, as I already mentioned, watch the flood zones. We are in a flood zone there, and that's why sometimes with these newer homes, you see them built up. Maybe the garage is underneath the house, and then the first level of living areas on the second level, or if the property is wider, if the land's wider, you're gonna see, as you drive around, the homes are built up more. They built up the land. Maybe there's little steps to take you up to the front door, just to increase that elevation because of the flood zone. It's nice that the Key is small and intimate, but sadly there's not a lot of homes to choose from. So the options are limited there for sure. And then one other downside is there are no grocery stores or pharmacies right there on the circle. So if you do need to go shopping, grocery shopping, or hit a CVS, you have to cross over a bridge, either go downtown or you can head out to Longboat Key to get to Publix. So any shopping like that, you can't do it right there. Even though we do have these beautiful shops and restaurants, you can't go and buy a tomato or something like that right there on the circle. You gotta leave the Key to do that. And sometimes the traffic can get bad during the winter months, to leave the circle or to get back on. It just depends on the time of day that you do it. So once you live there, you figure out what's the best time to go and get on and off the Key, so you're not sitting there on the bridge for too long. Now, just a bit of trivia for you. There is a road that cuts through part of St. Armands and then down Lido Key. It's called Boulevard of the Presidents. And then if you look on a map, you're gonna see that all the other roads between St. Armands and Lido Key are named after presidents. So you're gonna see Ben Franklin, Washington, Arthur, Cleveland, Coolidge, all of the names of all these presidents. So that's kind of neat. So that's what the Ringlings did when they developed the area about 100 years ago. They set it up like that. Now, let's suppose you like this area. You like the idea of enjoying both the beach and maybe the city life, but you really quite can't afford a $1 million home that would probably need some work, or an $800,000 condo. So in that case, I suggest you check out the island in Venice, Venice Island. They have their own little main street called Venice Avenue. It's not a circle, it's a one long street, but it's nice because it sort of has the same feel, a similar feel. They have events there. Venice Beach is there. There's another beach at the far south end of the island as well. I think that's Casperson, I believe. And the prices there are a bit less than what they are here on Lido Key or St Armands. So if you have interest in that, I made a video. My last video was called Venice, Florida Communities. So check that out. That was just the first point. So if you want to watch that and get a feel for what that might look like. So what did I miss? What's so nice about Lido Key that you like, or is there something I mentioned that might be a negative as well? So please put that in the comments below so everybody, all the viewers can see that too. I do appreciate you watching my video. Thanks for reaching out to me. I've talked to so many of you and it's been great to get to know you. And not only can you call me, but if you want, we can jump on and do a Zoom call. There's a sweet couple I've been talking to or emailing with for over a month. And just a couple days ago, we hopped on, did a Zoom call. It's nice so I can see your faces because you guys know what I look like and I get to know you a little bit better. So it was a really great conversation and it's just a nice way to connect. So if you even want to do a Zoom call, I'm happy to do that. Well, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great day.